The last time my family spoke to me like I mattered, it wasn't love in their voices. It was management. My mother's tone had that polished calm she saved for public spaces, the one that made you feel crazy for reacting to anything at all. She said, "You're not welcome here," like she was stating the weather, and my father didn't even argue with her. He just stood behind her, arms crossed, like a judge watching a defendant try to explain herself. I left our house with a tote bag, $47, and a phone that stopped working before I reached the end of the street. No dramatic suitcase, no movie scene, just me, walking with the kind of quiet panic that makes every streetlight look like it's judging you. 11 years later, I walked into my sister's wedding holding my son's hand. I wasn't there to beg for a seat at their table. I wasn't there to soften the edges of the past. I was there because an invitation showed up with my name on it, and because something about that envelope felt like a trap dressed as an apology. My husband, Jonah, didn't try to talk me into it. He didn't try to talk me out of it either. He just watched me read the invitation twice, then said gently, "Whatever you decide, we go together." So we did. The venue was the kind of place that looked like it had never seen real life. Chandeliers that threw warm light onto marble floors, crisp white florals that probably cost more than my first car, and staff moving so quietly it felt like the building itself was trained to keep secrets. My son, Miles, squeezed my hand and whispered, "Mom, do we know anyone here?" I almost said no, almost. Instead, I swallowed and said, "Not really." Because what I wanted to say was, only the people who decided I was disposable, only the people who made a story out of me and told it so many times they started believing it. We took 2 steps into the ballroom and I felt it, the shift. Conversations didn't stop, not fully, but they changed, like curtains moving in a draft. Heads turned just a little too fast. Smiles paused mid-curve. People were trying to recognize me without looking like they were trying. I wasn't supposed to be here. That was the unspoken rule humming in the air. My absence had been part of the daycare for years, arranged neatly so no one would ask why. Cassidy saw me first. My sister has always been good at expressions. Even as a kid, she could make her eyes look wide and wounded at will. She could drop her voice into that soft, helpless tone that made adults rush to comfort her, even when she'd caused the problem in the first place. Her face moved through a familiar sequence as she walked toward me in her white dress. Surprise, calculation, panic, then a smile that tried to cover all 3. "Lena," she breathed, like my name was a ghost she didn't expect to see in daylight. "You came." "I was invited," I said, because it was the truth and because it was the only armor I needed. Behind her, my parents stood near the head table like they owned the room. My father, Darren Whitlock, still had that posture he used like a weapon, straight spine, chin slightly lifted, the look of a man who believed his version of events was the official record. My mother, Marilyn, had her fingers at her necklace, gripping it the way she always did when she felt cornered, as if pearls could rewrite history. My father's jaw tightened when he saw me. My mother's lips parted like she wanted to speak, but no sound came out at first. They were shocked, but it wasn't the shock of seeing a lost daughter. It was the shock of seeing a risk. Then the groom stepped up beside Cassidy. Graham Price looked like a man who'd spent his whole life in rooms like this. Calm, tailored, polite in a way that suggested he'd never had to fight to be believed. He had his hand on Cassidy's waist, possessive without looking possessive, and when he smiled at guests, it was effortless. His eyes flicked to me, then down toward the place cards near the entrance where names were arranged for seating. I watched his gaze land on mine. Lena Whitlock Rowe. His expression changed just slightly. The calm cracked with confusion. "Whitlock," he said, not accusing, just trying to sort the information. Cassidy's voice came too fast. She's, my mother cut in sharply, the way she does when she thinks control is slipping. "This isn't the time." Graham didn't take his eyes off the name card. He looked past Cassidy toward my father, then back to me, like he was assembling a puzzle and suddenly realizing there were missing pieces. And then he said something that made the air feel thin. "Why does your guest have the same last name that's on your charity's missing fund report?" It wasn't loud like shouting. It was worse. It was clear. Nearby laughter faltered. A couple standing close enough to hear went still. Someone's fork paused halfway to their mouth. Cassidy's smile froze so hard it looked painful. My mother's face drained of color. My father's eyes did something that used to happen right before he'd punish me as a kid. They sharpened, focused, recalculated. Graham's parents were standing a few feet away, turning toward him as soon as they heard the word missing. I didn't know them well, but I could see it in their posture. Wealth and reputation make people allergic to scandal. They don't flinch from it because they're fragile. They flinch because they know how fast it spreads. Cassidy laughed, a thin sound that didn't reach her eyes. "Baby, what are you talking about? This is our wedding." Graham's brow tightened. The foundation's accountant flagged discrepancies from last year's gala. It's all tied to Whitlock Event Group. My father let out a smooth chuckle. He stepped forward as if he was welcoming a guest, as if this was all a harmless misunderstanding. "Graham, my boy, not tonight. Let's not muddy the waters with paperwork." "Paperwork?" Graham repeated. My mother's voice cut like a blade wrapped in velvet. "Today is about love. Let's keep it that way." Graham looked at her, then at Cassidy, then back at me. He seemed genuinely unsettled, like he'd just realized the room had rules he didn't know. "It's donor money," he said quietly. "If something's off, it matters." Cassidy's fingers tightened around his arm. "You're overthinking. You know how audits are. They find issues that aren't issues." Graham didn't relax. He turned to Cassidy, slower now, more deliberate. "You never told me you had a sister." Cassidy's mouth opened, closed, opened again. It never came up. The lie floated in the space between them, not because it was obviously false in a dramatic way, but because it was insulting. How does a sister never come up when you're building a life with someone? I stood still, my husband Jonah beside me like a steady wall, his hand resting lightly at my back. Miles pressed closer to my side, sensing the tension without understanding it. "Mom," he whispered, "can we get cake?" "Soon," I murmured, because I wasn't going to let my child become collateral in my family's performance. Cassidy leaned closer to me, her smile still fixed for anyone watching. Her voice dropped to a hiss meant only for me. "What are you doing?" I looked at her calm, standing here. Her eyes flashed with something raw and ugly. Fear, not guilt. Panic that the story she'd been living in was about to be corrected in public. "This isn't your place," she said through her teeth. I tilted my head slightly. "It's a wedding, and I was invited." My father's voice dropped low, trying to pull authority out of the air. "Lena, don't." That word used to shrink me. Don't, the warning before punishment. The command that meant, obey or you lose everything. But I wasn't 17 anymore, shaking in a hallway trying to be good enough to earn basic kindness. I met his eyes and said, evenly, "I'm not doing anything." And that was true. The truth was doing all the work by itself. Graham's parents had closed in now, faces tight. A woman in a navy dress, someone who looked like she'd spent her life dealing with money and consequences, stepped into the circle with a polite smile that didn't soften her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said. "I couldn't help overhearing." "Graham, you mean the Giving Circle report?" Graham nodded once. "Yes." The woman turned to my father. "Mr. Whitlock, I'm Denise Rowland. I'm the external auditor assigned by the foundation." My father's friendly mask wavered. "Well, Denise, wonderful to meet you. Surely this can wait." Denise didn't move. "It can't, actually, not anymore." She looked at me, then at my name card again, and her eyes narrowed with recognition. "Are you Lena Whitlock?" she asked. I felt the room tighten around that question, like a rope pulling. "Yes," I said. Denise's eyebrows rose. "I thought so. Your name appears on the original formation documents for the Giving Circle, listed as the initial financial coordinator." Cassidy made a small sound, barely audible, like air leaving a punctured tire. My mother stammered, "That must be a mistake." Denise didn't even glance at her. "It is." Graham turned slowly toward Cassidy. "Why would your sister be on the original filings?" he asked. "If you told me you started this in college on your own." Cassidy's eyes darted to my father, searching for rescue. My father stepped forward, voice rising, trying to dominate the space. Those documents are old. She was a child. She helped with trivial tasks. Denise's expression remained unchanged. Trivial tasks don't include being listed as financial coordinator. Graham's mother's lips pressed into a thin line. Darren, did you use donor money to cover your business expenses? My father's eyes flashed with anger. Absolutely not. Graham's father, quieter but sharper, said, then show the receipts. Cassidy tried to laugh again, but it broke halfway through. This is insane. This is our wedding. Graham didn't look at her. His gaze was locked on Denise now. What exactly is missing? Denise's tone stayed professional, calm enough to be terrifying. Last year's gala raised a significant amount. The allocation records don't match the revenue. Vendor fees paid to Whitlock Event Group don't align with fair market rates, and there are gaps in documentation that require immediate explanation. My father's face went rigid. You're not going to interrogate me here. Denise nodded politely. I'm not interrogating you, I'm informing you. She reached into her folder and pulled out an envelope, crisp and official looking. This is formal notice, she said. There is a meeting scheduled Monday with the foundation's legal team. If funds can't be accounted for, the matter will be referred out. A hush spread outward in waves. People farther away didn't know exactly what was said, but they sensed it. Weddings have their own energy, and when it breaks, everyone feels it like a glass cracking. Cassidy started crying, sudden and dramatic, turning her face into Graham's shoulder the way she used to when she wanted someone else to become the villain for not comforting her. Graham, please, she sobbed. Not like this. Graham stepped back. It wasn't a big move, just a small distance. A few inches, but in a room full of people, it looked like an earthquake. You lied to me, he said, voice shaking. You told me you built this. You told me you were honest. Cassidy's tears spilled harder. I was trying to be enough. You don't understand, my parents. My mother rushed in, voice trembling. Cassidy is under stress. This is humiliating. Graham's eyes snapped to her. Humiliating? He repeated. Donor money is missing. You're worried about humiliation. My father's voice boomed. Enough. This is a private event. Denise didn't flinch. Your event business is not private if it's funded through charitable donations. Graham turned then, and his gaze landed on me. Not accusing, not friendly either. More like someone staring at a door he hadn't noticed before and realizing it was always there. Lena, he said carefully, how long have you known about this? In my mind, I saw the kitchen table from 11 years ago, the folder sliding toward me. The way my father said, sign like it was a command, not a request. The way my mother called me dramatic for protecting myself. The way Cassidy watched like the outcome didn't affect her because she'd never been the one at risk. Jonah's hand squeezed mine once, not pushing, not warning, just present. Miles leaned into my leg, small and warm and real. I could have lied. I could have softened it. I could have protected my parents the way I'd been trained to do. But my son was watching. Even if he didn't understand the words, he would remember the feeling, the way I chose to hold myself. So I told the truth. I suspected things were wrong years ago, I said. That's why I froze my credit, that's why I left. Cassidy's face snapped toward me, wet with tears, eyes blazing. You left because you couldn't handle responsibility. Graham's head whipped toward her. Is that what you told me? Cassidy's lips trembled. She always made things difficult. My father pointed at me like I was the problem infecting the room. She's trying to destroy us. That's what she does. I looked at him, calm enough that it made him angrier. No, I said. I'm refusing to be your hiding place. The words landed heavy. For a second, nobody spoke. Then someone behind us whispered, "Oh my God," like they'd just realized they were standing inside a story they'd be telling for years. My mother stepped toward me, eyes glossy, voice suddenly soft, the performance she used when she wanted sympathy. Lena, she said, we can talk. We can fix this, please. I stared at her and felt something strange, nothing. No rage, no hope, no longing, just clarity. She didn't want me back. She wanted control back. She wanted me quiet. She wanted me erased again. Jonah leaned closer and murmured, "We can go whenever you want." I nodded once. Miles looked up at me. "Mom, are you mad?" I crouched slightly so my face was closer to his. "No, buddy," I said gently. "Some people are just making bad choices." He frowned, serious in the way kids get when they sense unfairness. "Lying is a bad choice." "Yes," I said, "it is." We walked out before the cake, before the speeches, before the first dance that would have looked like love while the room rotted underneath it. Behind us, the wedding tried to keep going for a few minutes, music still playing, guests still holding drinks, smiles still attempting to form. But you can't dance on a collapsing floor. In the car, Miles was disappointed for exactly 5 minutes until Jonah promised ice cream and let him pick the toppings. Childhood should be that simple when you can make it simple. I watched my son chatter about sprinkles in the back seat and felt something loosen in my chest. Not victory, release. That night my phone lit up with calls from numbers I hadn't saved. My father, my mother, Cassidy. Messages stacked like falling dominoes. Some were angry, some were pleading. Some pretended none of it happened and suggested we meet for coffee like adults. I didn't respond, because the strongest boundary isn't a dramatic speech. It isn't a public takedown. It's silence. On Monday, the foundation met with legal counsel, not because I begged them to. Not because I demanded revenge, because donor money has rules and paper trails don't care about family reputations. A week later, Graham emailed me one message. No excuses, no drama. "I'm sorry I didn't know," he wrote. "I'm sorry I believed a story that made you the villain." I stared at the screen for a long time, not because I wanted something from him, but because it was strange hearing someone speak truth plainly after a lifetime of my family twisting it. I replied with one sentence. "I'm glad you finally met the truth." After that, life didn't become perfect. That's not how it works, but it became lighter in a way I hadn't expected. Like my body finally understood I wasn't in danger of being dragged back into their version of me. A few months later, I started something small and quiet, a local scholarship fund. Nothing flashy. No gala, no press release, no family name attached to it like a trophy. Just help for students who were trying to climb out of homes where love comes with fine print. Because I learned early what it costs when the people who should protect you decide your name is something they can spend. Sometimes you do win against a family like mine. You just build a life so solid they can't rewrite it. And the truth is, that's not revenge. That's freedom.